Alright, so in this one, we're going to be doing our monthly LF tier list with Bardock dropping. Just a few days ago, we do have a new addition to the list, and I do feel like he will make a pretty nice impact. You know, I do hear him being called, you know, worse than Ape Vegeta, worse than LF Rose, and these are some, you know, slanderous accusations I'm hearing against him. And I do feel like every single video I put up about him, besides his initial showcase, and I'm going to explain why real quickly, has been great for him, but his initial showcase, it's very much a dilemma with new units where, unless they are very simple 1-2, 1-2 combo, and they do everything without you really having to think about it, a unit like Bardock, when you actually have to like play him in a certain style to get him to look as good as he can, that's different than something you're used to for the last few months of Goku Gogeta, Super Gogeta, and sort of Trunks, where it's pretty simple to play them, right? Bardock is not very simple to play, and I do feel like because of that, he's getting more slander than he deserves. You know, if you watch any of these videos, the, you know, Bardock Squad video, the, with, you know, Frieza and Yajirobe, and then the Zenkai buff video, you'll see there, every single match, he carries every single video, because I have those videos put up for a reason that he's meant to be the carry of those, because it's like, who else could do anything? Who's going to carry with Frieza, Yajirobe, and Bardock? It's going to be Bardock. He did the entire video. Same thing with the Bardock Squad, who carried Bardock, right? So you have him being able to carry these other units who really can't do much damage comparably to him. He does have value, it's just that's not being seen by a lot of people because maybe you're used to the playstyle of very simple, where Bardock does not offer that playstyle, right? The LFs, how we're going to rate their stars, are going to be very simple. Zenkai LFs will be at 11 stars, and the other LFs will be at 7. It's, you know, a hit and miss there, because, you know, Super Judo should probably be at 14 for most people. But then Bardock won't be at 7 for a lot of people, right? So it's a hit and miss, but it's also like, I feel like that's the most fair way to balance this, where you just, Zenkai's one spot, non-Zenkai LFs in another spot, right? So to get into this, let's start. Super Vegito, I do think, still is maintaining his Z-tier status, and yes, they will be in order. Every single, you know, tier will be in order, so don't worry about that. Super Vegito, still maintaining his Z-tier status. Blue, Purple Super Saiyans, I still feel as the best team in the game. If not a best team in your opinion, it's probably still a top 5 team regardless. And he's on that setup. You do have him being the Zenkai buff for Purple Saiyans, which, you know, can actually help Goku Vegeta. On a different setup of Purple Blue, well, yeah, Purple Blue with Goku Vegeta, Super Vegeta, and Ultra Gogeta. He's on multitudes of teams and the best teams in the game. He has a sub option on fusions, actually. It's Gogeta 4, Ultra Gogeta, and Maju. But still being a sub option on a team, I would say is, if not top 5, top 7 as a fusions. Super Vegeta is still a menace. He's going to age pretty nicely, I would say, unless they just drop, like, the most broken yellow in the game. I don't think Super Vegeta is really going anywhere. He's doing great. He was very, again, another unit who was very underrated when you saw their details. He was that. Like, people were saying he was worse than Goten and Super Vegeta. I mean, he is rightfully so in the Z-tier spot, not really with a problem in sight. He is very much chilling because they just dropped the yellow and he's not moving Z-tier Super Vegito. But again, it is just a monthly LF of Bardock compared to like a festival celebration where Super Vegito got Zenkai. They gotta like amp that man up, which I agree with. You know, amp up celebration units. It's just make these other units equal to, which I think Bardock is. Evolution Blue. Now, Evolution Blue, I would rate him S tier. I don't think he is great for right now. I was going to say good, but I don't think he's great for right now. I think he can have decent value. I believe on his first come-in, or just when he comes in general, because he doesn't really keep his damage inflicted that he builds up, he has 90% the damage inflicted, right? So if you think like that, he's okay, because once you do about, I would say 4 or 3 cards, your opponent might swap, so then you'll draw another card, then you'll have that key below 35, and I believe you get 25% damage inflicted per a card he does below that 35 key, so he can ramp up to at least a decent percentage of like 130, 140-ish in a combo, which is nice. It's just that it takes that long, and I know people will compare, oh, but Bardock takes 28 counts to fully build up. Yeah, we'll get into Bardock in very much detail, because he's probably the most used LF I've ever used on release, right? So we'll get into Bardock's big details very soon, but just to say Evolution Blue, he's a little bit slow because of that, because he gets 90%, then he resets back to 0, then back to 90. You know, he's not keeping his build-up he's doing, because it resets when he swaps out. So he's 90, okay, he comes back. He was already at 150% during that time he was out. Okay, now he's back to 90. It's not, like, the worst thing in the world, but it is something that does hurt him, because you look at, let's say, Super Vegeta, who constantly has this support flowing from himself to, you know, his allies, and then he has the Bardock support flowing from when maybe he's not fully built up to him, and it's kind of just an endless cycle. With Evolution Blue, he doesn't really have that endless cycle with anybody. He doesn't have the perfect team like Super Vegeta does, so I do feel like he falters in that department, where he gets screwed over by his teams more than the unit himself. The unit itself, again, is a little bit slow, but that's really the only issue of him, right? It's not even that he's really that slow, it's more that everyone else is already peaked so quickly. He just struggles because of how quick everyone else has become, because, I mean, celebration units, right? Gogeta 4, Z tier, I would say Gogeta 4 is above Super Vegeta. I don't think I've ever debated that. I don't think so, at least. Gogeta 4, he can do it all. He is, you know, the most glow-up unit, the most comeback of a unit, whatever you want to call him. He came from 0 to hero after months of being dead on arrival. Pre his plat, obviously post his plat, it's been, you know, a decent amount of months here. He hasn't really aged badly. Honestly, he's aged better than most units that would have a plat that quickly, which is genuinely surprising, because you look at, like, you know, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, whose plat, you know, pre-awakening, it didn't really do anything for him when he was pre-Zenkai and all that. You know, he had that, and he didn't really move. Like, he didn't move a tier, he didn't go anywhere, he just stayed there. And it's not that far off of Gogeta 4's. I know there's one big thing of general damage inflicted Gogeta 4 gets, but it's still not that far off comparably. And yet, Gogeta 4, you know, he has a good base kit, he just needed those big stats that he could get from the plat, and then it did him justice here, right? Gogeta 4, a menace to the world, and probably will stay that way for a good minute here. FSK, let me think about this for a second. I want to say A tier. I want to say A tier because Red being dead right now, it is a little bit, you know, undead if you really want to be nice with Bardock being here, because, I mean, that's another yellow, but, like, I mean, I guess, but it's still, like, 37 million blues you're going to be terrified of. Like, FSK just, he needs too much to be the FSK you know as the terror of the world, right? That's the issue with him. He just needs too much, and you can't offer all that right now because of, well, you need your units, like, individually to be good individually, right? FSK kind of allowed the situation where your units can be kind of mid, but he can carry because he's so phenomenal as just, like, this peaked out character. Right now, even when he's in that peaked out state, yes, he can do these comebacks, but it's a lot harder to get him in that spot, like, consistently. That's just kind of his biggest thing. Team-wise, he's not the worst, because, you know, Hybrids isn't the worst team in the world, but he just doesn't flow on the teams that are good for him. On top of, again, he needs too much, I would say. UI Midku, I don't even know where I usually put him. I'll say just B tier. I don't know, because this Blue Vegeta, you know, I don't like that's an argument, but you can actually argue this Blue Vegeta over UI Goku. But, you know, I'm gonna put him C tier because UI Goku, there's nothing to say about him. Give him his plat equip. Give him a lot of defense, like 50% defenses on it. Honestly, like, he needs that. That's not even a joke. Or just, like, pure defenses with, like, 3 different roles, like a Saiyan one that's pure defense 10% per, a USS one, and then a God Key one, where he has 3 separate roles. You know, you can make quick money from that, Legends, if you just give him all that, and then he'd be fine, honestly. He just needs a lot of defense. His offense isn't bad, but it's just his defense doesn't exist. Like, I know it's UI Goku, he shouldn't be, like, defensive, but I'm pretty sure they actually say UI, the part that Goku accesses at first, is the defensive aspect, because he can't do any damage to, like, Kefla or some shit, but yet he's dodging everything. So it's like, isn't dodging defensive? So shouldn't he be tankier? Just a thought, but let's keep going. You know, this Vegeta, again, you can't actually debate UI Goku with this Vegeta, but he just needs a Zenkai. That's it. Like, his plat is actually really nice. It's one of the probably better raging plots in the game because it does have, you know, that double pure attack, I believe, on that last slot, which, you know, is, again, really good. He just needs the Zenkai, that's all. Like, I don't see the biggest issue with them. He just needs a Zenkai, though. Like, he's just aged. That's the simplest way to put him. UI Goku really came out a year after. And he's comparable. Jesus, UI Goku, please! Cell. Now, Cell, I feel like I do have an altered version of him in my head where I'm thinking of Cell. Because I did that triple Zenkai buff video, and I was very impressed, right? I thought Cell was looking like a god, he was doing everything. I built the team to where it was only dependent on Cell. Like, it was all or nothing. Cell does everything, or we lose, right? And he did everything. That was a triple Zenkai buff. I'm not referring to these units in just their peak situation of godness, greatness, awesomeness, perfectness. I'm thinking of every situation for them, right? I even mentioned it. Super Vegeta, I'm thinking of fusions. That's not Super Vegeta triple Zenkai buffs. That's Super Vegeta Zenkai buffing himself, and that's it. So I'm thinking of Cell in a general sense. I do think he's still S tier. I don't think he is, you know, the most phenomenal unit right now. But I don't think he is as bad as he's said to be. And this even comes from me, who has been shitting on him, you know, since the hybrids meta kind of died out. Cell definitely has garnered a little bit more respect, because I did use him, you know, obviously a little bit off camera, just to see how he did pre-Zenkai boosted and post. He still did respectable. I've seen a lot of gameplay of Cell as well, without Zenkai boost, and I've learned to respect him a little bit more. Obviously, again, this will fill out as we continue, but Cell being S tier, I think, is pretty easy for me to say. Full power Frieza. Now, I'm contemplating this S plus and S tier, right? If he's not going to be S plus, he's going to be probably the top of S tier. I do feel like his value from when, like, he really got increased value of Sword Hope Trunks, Future Gohan, and Goku Gogeta as, like, a main setup, you know, without Ultra Gogeta existing, was, like, his peak spot where he deserved S plus, like, undoubtedly. But I do feel like that's fallen a little bit. And it's not necessarily, you know, because any color counters in specific, but because that full, like, endurance setup isn't really something you're running into. I don't know if you're running into enough Bardocks to warrant S plus for Frieza. I think he barely scrapes S plus. I'm gonna be, like, honestly kind to him here. He barely scrapes S plus because it's not like he's gotten countered out or anything. It's just you're running into less of what he really, like, wants to go against. Because, again, his whole, like, real glow-up situation, it's not just because the nullify endurance, but it's a lot of the part, right? It's still there, but it's just not as needed anymore, which, again, I might put some units above him because of that now, but he used to be, like, undoubtedly this S plus, like, top of S plus unit. But I do feel like that's fallen a little bit because you're, again, not running into, like, these full endurance setups. It's just not a thing. Maybe you'll run into Future sometimes, but even then, you're running into Zenkai, or not Zenkai, Zamasu Goku Black, who doesn't have this endurance, when, you know, prior to it was Goku Gogeta, Sword Hope Trunks, and Future Gohan. The setups have changed, right? That means Frieza's rating should also change. LF Rose, he should be A tier. Now, is he below FSK? Thinking about it here. I want to say... I don't want to say he's below FSK. Do I? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like that's a hot take if I say Rose is below FSK. Personally, I'm rating him at 7, FSK at 11. But, dude, you can't use... you can't... Rose has just a little bit more going for him with this endurance nullification because, again, I even just stated it. There might not be 24/7 endurance meta units, but they're still existent. That's why Frieza's value hasn't gone, like, incredibly down. Because they still exist, it's just not as commonplace. And FSK, I gotta put Rose above him. This might be a hot take, I don't know. I just feel like it barely stretches out where Rose's nullify endurance and the other things he has a chance to do is better than FSK right now. Maybe that's a hot take. If anything, they're interchangeable, so it doesn't really matter that much, but I think Rose would be better. I think so, at least. I really haven't touched either since I did just their videos, and, like, that's not enough to warrant, like, you know, everything that I'm going over here, because that's just, like, 6 matches. You have to use, like, a whole, like, thing to, like, really garner these opinions, but I think that's pretty sizable. I think so, at least. B tier, Majin Vegeta, right? Yeah. I think, obviously he's above UI Goku. Yeah. I would say he's B tier. I wouldn't really debate this. If you want to put him low A tier, sure, but Majin Vegeta, he's just a little bit old. That's it. He's not doing the worst. He's not doing the most, so he's okay. I don't think he's that terrible, but he's okay. Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Now this guy, I'm going to put him above FSK. I do feel like that's pretty easy to say, just because, yes, he is slow, but, what's worse, being slow or being disadvantaged, where you're just completely fucked unless you're getting your one-spot scenario, right? Super Saiyan 3 Goku has more sustainability, that I'd say, than FSK. They're very much getting O-code by a Super Vegito that's actually built correctly, but at least you have more spot to do a little bit more tedious stuff with Super Saiyan 3 Goku with his green card, with his neutral. You do have at least some leniency with Super Saiyan 3 Goku compared to FSK, so I do feel like he's a little bit above him there. Zenkai Frieza, I don't know where I've been rating him recently. I feel like I've been underrating him a little bit, because I used that video, used him in that video where it was the, weird team, and he did what I wanted, right? And I had to really go off of that, not what I expect, because, sometimes you just expect crazy damage from units that aren't meant to do damage, and it's like, okay, got, like, lower your expectation. I'll say S, and I'm saying this right now, he's going to be low S. He's doing what you want, but he's still not doing enough. So I think he barely makes S. 8 Vegeta. Who do I think is better, 8 Vegeta or FSK? Honestly, 8 Vegeta just have better teams. Right? Yeah. Because FSK wants Sun Family or Hybrid, basically, for his setups. Like, you kind of just need that so he can, like, really do his shit, if he really wants to do his shit. So I would say 8 Vegeta is actually better. Not better than Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Yeah, I would say 8 Vegeta is above FSK, just because the team. Saiyans is a team that, you can run this broken setup of blue, purple, all these things. But there also is a reality where you could run, I guess, 8 Vegeta if you really want to, like, manipulate sub-count, like a red, green, yellow setup, I guess. Red, green, purple, whatever you want to run. I do feel like, they're both very bad valued right now, but 8 Vegeta is above FSK in value. It's not really something that actually matters, to be real, because A tier units you're probably not even using, so they really don't matter. But I would say 8 is better than FSK, at least for team-wise, which is all they really have right now. They only have teams. Like, they can't have usage, so they have teams, which, again, doesn't really matter. Future Gohan. Now, I've heard a lot of things that people want to lower Future Gohan, that he doesn't deserve E tier. Personally, I don't agree with that. I do think Future Gohan barely scrapes into Z tier, and maybe, it's a little bit gassed to put him there for the situation that he doesn't really do damage. Well, the thing is, Future Gohan, you're meant to only disrupt. You're meant to do this support on support on support on support that he gets from getting hit, and it's something that actually values all your other units. I think people are trying to value Future Gohan as an individual for himself only, but if you look at it, Super Gogeta, who are you valuing for him? You're valuing him with Ultra Gogeta because while Super Gogeta is getting cards done to him, he's supporting your allies and amping your Super Gogeta, right? Future Gohan, while he's getting comboed up his ass, he's can't say the word, amplifying your other units. So you're thinking of Future Gohan as himself, where maybe he's not doing the hardest hitting damage, but you're also building this guy defensively. You're building him for disruption. You're building him for a circumstance where maybe only his ult will peak, because he does have, double ult damage equips that are also defensive equips. And you just kind of build him for a spot where his ultimate can do very nice, his neutral ultimate can do very nice, but nothing else really do very nice. Which, if he gets enough tap attacks or whatever bullshit happens on him, he will do nice in other spots. But I do feel like he edges out Z tier just because he's amplifying everyone in the entire game, and I don't think that should go undervalued here. Like, straight up, that is, the best thing any disruption unit can do is support every unit in the game, and he does both. Like, I don't think that, can be just said to be only S tier. I think that's a Z tier type of ability. Kid Buu. Fucking Kid Buu. I can't even rate him at 7 stars in my own head, because I don't even have a fucking 7 stars. This man's 6 stars for me because he doesn't come back anywhere. But Kid Buu, to Zenkai Frieza, who's better? I think Cell is better than Kid Buu. So Zenkai Frieza. I did say Zenkai Frieza's lower S. I would say Kid Buu's like mid to low S, if I'm going to be real. So I'll put him there. I think that's an okay spot. Again, we are rating him at 7. Kid Buu, while he is a good damage dealer, debuffer, all these things, and gets, his little sleek vanish back just, pretty nicely, and on green cards, he does die very quickly, which is his main issue, and to be real, I would say this unit needs to be replaced, because he is the only blue blast-based regen. I mean, when did Kid Buu come out? February, March, April, something like that? It's almost been a year. We haven't had one new unit, blast-based blue regen. We need him to be replaced, honestly. He dies too quick. We need a... Honestly, this is going to sound like a meme because people don't like Bardock, but we need a Bardock-like Kid Buu, to be honest. Like, maybe unrestricted, but a Bardock-like Kid Buu. Beerus, I forgot Beerus existed. Is Beerus worse than Gogeta? Probably, right? Probably. Again, it doesn't matter, these lower tiers. B and C really don't matter. A tier, I guess you can argue, but I don't give a shit about A tier anyways, so it's like, okay. Like, I'm going to rate it according to how I feel, but it truly doesn't matter unless you're looking at, like, high A tier, which, again, still really doesn't matter. Speaking of A tier, Gogeta Blue. I think he makes high A tier. I don't know if he touches S tier. He's so slow. Like I said, Evolution Blue is slow. And Evolution Blue takes, what, 4 or 5 cards, right? Look at Gogeta Blue. He's too slow. And he dies too quick. Yeah, I think he's top of A tier. He's just too slow. 7 stars especially, he needs stars, Gogeta Blue. He really needs stars right now. So at 7 stars, I think he's just too slow. Given he is above all the other A tier units, it's more because of his color. You're not running into reds, so Gogeta Blue does have just exceptional value in that department. But again, he's just too slow. I do feel like that does hurt him. Sword of Hope. Now, Sword of Hope, I've never been the biggest fan of him, and I'm not going to, like, change my mind on that. But to compare Sword of Hope to Full Power Frieza, I'm going to be real here. Sword of Hope, he's better. Yeah, he's better. Yeah. Now, I don't necessarily like Sword of Hope Trunks as, like, one of these great units. I think he's okay. He's definitely the worst of the 3 new, big-time units of Gogeta, Gogeta, and himself. But I think he has okay value. When I run into him, I don't really get worried. But the thing is, I don't really get worried about Full Power Frieza. And you could even say, like, okay, maybe that means they should just be S tier. But their value over these other units in S tier, I can obviously see as well. Sword Hope Trunks can be tedious. If he's built correctly, he can look like a monster. But at 7 stars, he's not doing anything similar to Future Gohan, where he's doing this really great thing for everyone. He's not doing anything to Super Vegeta at 11 stars, where it's really good for everyone, and he can just amplify himself. He's not doing this crazy thing that Gogeta 4 can do, where he's already peaked out, doing his godlike damage, frame 1. Sword Hope Trunks, he's doing a lot less than all of them, but he's also eating decently. Yes, he is still boosted. Next time I go over this list, they're going to stop being boosted. Goku Vegeta, Sword Hope Trunks, and all these other units that came out for the Legends Festival, besides Ultra Gogeta, but like the first part of Legends Festival. But right now, I think because of that boost, I value him over Full Power Frieza. I don't think it's necessarily that close, but I think it's close enough to have them in the same tier, right? Vegeta Blue, is he better than Gogeta Blue right now? I don't know. That's interesting to think. Is he? I think they're interchangeable. I'm going to put them both next to each other. I think they're pretty interchangeable, yeah. I don't really see a debate on that. I think they're okay. 1-2 units. They're both not great, but they're both 1-2 to one another, so that's okay for them. Goku Vegeta, I do still feel like are the cream of the crop for LFs, by the way. They're still number 1. That's not going to change. LFs, again, LFs. Ultras, no. Ultra Vegeta's not here because he's not LF. Goku Vegeta still do everything they need to do. They are countering out Bardock with the Vegeta portion of them, which does suck for Bardock, even though, some circumstances where he has someone dead, then he doesn't get countered out fully because he's neutral on defense, but they still do counter out Bardock, basically, right? They do everything in the game. They still are on a very nice setup. Now, post-boost, and I'm not going to talk about this, like, too much. I'm going to reference it because it doesn't matter to these units, Sword Hope Trunks and Goku Vegeta. But just to say, post-boost, expect them to fall at least a little bit, because if you look at their in-game stats, like, look at yours in-game right now, you'll see their stats, they are not it. Yeah, they are pretty fucking low. Even at 14 stars, they're pretty low. Expect them to fall, maybe not out of Z tier, but quite a bit lower than they are right now. I would not be surprised if Gogeta 4 was #1 of Z tier next time I do this list. Like, I'm just saying. But right now, they are still #1, right? Because boost and, well, everything they do on top of that. Revival Gohan. Revival Gohan. You're not S+. I feel that. I do think you're S tier. Revival Gohan, now, while his first life does basically get 2-carded, it does allow you a spot where you can maybe get a Vanish out and then, you know, try to peek him out and do insane damage with his post-revival, which does do good damage still, right? I've had a spot, funny enough, where I think EX Tora at 7 stars, you know, he does go neutral on his cover-in, but he almost lived a full Revival Gohan combo post-revival where everyone else was dead and he already had a lot of damage built up, which is funny to say. EX Tora, by the way. Green! Fun times. But, all jokes aside there, I feel like his value is over Kid Buu, over Frieza. Is it over Cell? It's not over Evolution Blue. No way. Is it over Cell? I don't want to say they're interchangeable, but I also don't want to underrate Cell. But yes, the revival state, just because of how little anti-revivals, I know I don't understand how it's really changed this much, but I mean, it's changed. How little anti-revivals you're running into right now with only really Goku Gogeta. You're not running into Gogeta 4 as much as you used to, at least from my experiences, without hiring PvP. Gohan kind of thrives in that situation, and the yellows that are above him, I mean, you look at it, I personally don't really think they matter, because Evolution Blue does not really have his flawless defense. Future Gohan does not have great defense. Yes, you could build him for a defensive setup, but it's like, Revival Gohan can still nuke through a yellow that's not built, like, for defense, right? And even Future Gohan, again, his low stats, maybe not the lowest defensive stats, but his low, just tanking abilities, Revival Gohan can still shred through it. So these yellows that are above him, Full Power Frieza, he's very fragile, right? Revival Gohan can still do that work. I think putting him above Cell is pretty proper here, actually. Super Saiyan 4 Goku. Okay. Super Saiyan 4 Goku is... I don't think he's B tier, man. I don't think so. I think Super Saiyan 4 Goku... Can I put him above Rose? I want to put him above Super Saiyan 3 Goku pretty easily. I don't really even see a debate there. I think he can be in a spot because of his plat, and I know his plat gets memed on because it's not Gogeta 4 level, but like, it's still a really good plat, right? I want to put him here. I really don't see the shitting party he gets. You know, if you just run a setup and... Oh, so I should just make a video on this just to really show it, because I've used it off camera. Yellow, yellow, green with Majub and Gogeta 4. You have, I mean, Majub, who eats pretty well, where there's no red to counter him out, and then, okay, let's say Vegeta comes in and Goku Vegeta, go to Gogeta 4, right? You just have people that can take hits to where Goku could build up, and then you have Goku built up. He's doing a lot of damage. I'm not sure his peak damage inflicted when built up, but it's not like... I thought there was something on my window. It's not like his damage is going to be below, I would say, 120% peak buildup, right? Like, it's not that hard because you're going to take hits anyways. It's just, don't let him take the hits. The IT he does have as well. I do feel like with the lack of reds, his value does pretty much rise to here. Super Saiyan 3 Goku being too slow, Rose only having 90% damage inflicted, and he loses damage inflicted as the battle goes on. It's like I don't know how Super Saiyan 4 Goku can be worse than that. That's just my take. People will disagree with that. I don't know why it'll be such a hot take, but it will. It will. LF Piccolo, talk about slow here. He's kind of in between Evolution Blue and Gogeta Blue there, because LF Piccolo, it's kind of player dependent, right? If you're going to be slow build up or not. If you really want to maintain that idea of getting that second Vanish, then yes, you're going to be pretty slow with his build up, because you're not always going to get that. But there's also a circumstance where you play it very quickly and you get his build up quicker than, or more, I guess, easier than Evolution Blue could even get his. So if I'm thinking like an in-between of that, I think he's better than Kid Buu. I think... This is hard. This is hard to do. I want to say, if it's 11-star, remember I said 11-star for Zenkai LFs. Ooh, that's a big change, for my opinion. I was just about to say. If he's 11-star to a 7-star Cell, I think LF Piccolo is better. Yes. I was going to say, without remembering their rating, that they're equal, interchangeable, but no. I think LF Piccolo is definitively better than LF Cell at that current star rating that I just held him at, which I do feel like is most proper. Honestly, Piccolo's a very high star rated unit on this list because my man's here is only like 9, right? So it's like, okay, like I can't even vouch for this, but from experience of a 9-star to a 7-star Cell, which I have 8-star Cell, it's pretty clear that Piccolo is better. Just if I play the circumstance correct, which again, that's a player thing. If you're playing it really right, you know how to use Piccolo. You can get him peaked out by 150 counts, right? Honestly, putting him below Rival Gohan might be a take that I disagree with, but we'll go over this at the end and change out the issues, right? Issues I have with it. LF Broly. LF Broly has one unique until the enemy swaps, so that's an issue, and I don't like that issue. I don't. His damage inflicted goes up to what, 105% on his first unique? I believe so. I think so. Close to that, right? Whatever it is. Rose has, you know, similar, 90 to 105%, just early game, right? So I guess Broly's above Rose, but they're both so replaced so many times, it's actually funny. I don't think, again, I don't think A tier really matters, but if you really want it to matter, I'll put Rose above. I'll put Rose above. I know Broly can be on Super Saiyans, but you're not running this dumbass on Super Saiyans when you have all these other broken Super Saiyan units. Honestly, you're just not. It's just not realistic. Rose only above because the opportunity to nullify endurance, not even that he will fully nullify endurance, because sometimes he won't even kill, right? He can be very weak, but the opportunity to, I feel like, just outweighs what LF Broly can do with his only one unique, unfortunately. Namek Goku. Namek Goku. Now, Namek Goku, I always rate as like a middle ground where people aren't the greatest with him, but people aren't the worst players in the world with him, right? If I were to think of him as like someone that, you know, is using him peaked out, like peak performance, one of the best players in the world with Namek Goku. Oh, wait, why is Old Gogeta on here? I'm not going to rate him. I don't want to rate Old Gogeta on this. But Namek Goku, I would say for a peak player is probably mid-S here. For a normal player, I'm going to say low S, to where he is barely above Zenkai Frieza. I think he obviously does more than Zenkai Frieza for where we are right now. Zenkai Frieza having that durability he wants to have just isn't enough because he's going to get too carded anyways, right? Namek Goku can at least look decent if you're playing him at least decently. That's how that works for him. Even though he has fallen a little bit because how broken these other units are above him. Carlton Zamasu, I do feel like still is the best red. You know, there is a debate between, you know, him, Omega, and I'm not sure if the other one is. I think just him and Omega. But the best LF red at least, right? So you look here, he's obviously going to be above 8 Vegeta and FSK, but is he really that far above? Truly? I would say he's above Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and that's it. I don't think he makes it any further than that. You know, maybe being above LF Broly could be a debate, but you're red. You're still dying in 2 cards. That's just the harsh reality of it. You know, you have these other units here who aren't red, who are also dying in like 2 cards, with Rose, with Broly, but it's also that they have at least a little bit more going for them. Carlton Zamasu quite literally is just damage. So you can't do damage if you're dead. That's as simple as I see it. Goten. Now Goten's very underrated. You know, his showcase I did on him was him at 9 stars, and now he's at 11. He's 13 for me, but I'm rating here at 11. I want to say Goten is at 11 stars right now in PvP. If I were to run the setup that I used, I want to say he's above Kid Buu. Yeah, I think he's very underrated. I think Goten gets a lot more flack than he deserves. Now, he's not Rival Gohan, but he's still very good. It's just that he came out with Revival Gohan, basically, because his Zenkai came out just a few weeks, a few months, actually, later. Actually, not even that long later. Regardless, they came out very similar times, at least, to where, Revival Gohan's just better. Like, it's just... That's why people shit on Goten, because Revival Gohan was just better. Like, that's just how that works. And then the last one here, again, I'm not going to touch on Ultra Gogeta. Bardock. Now, Bardock, I have stated this on Twitter, that Bardock, I think, is better than Evolution Blue. So, with that being said, I want to say, Bardock, S+, huh? I did not know we only had 2 units there. I want to say, yeah. I'm going to say it. Bardock is S+ tier. Now, 35 minutes deep, you guys will actually hear what I have to say about Bardock. Good. I'm glad. You guys have to watch the whole video, or skip to it at least. Bardock, he can do everything. There is so much that Bardock does that you don't even remember. He lowers sub count. He fucks over your ki. He has the green card after someone dies. Yes, after someone dies, that's very sucky. That gets his vanish back. That does all these crazy things for him. He has the main ability, where he nullifies special cover change. 50% to health restore down for 50 timer counts. You look at every unit, maybe besides full power Frieza, actually. Actually, no, he does heal on main ability. Every unit above Bardock heals. Goku Vegeta, quite literally, are just meant to heal. Maybe if you're not even doing crazy damage, you might just stay in with them to heal, right? Gogeta 4 heals on main. Super Vegeta heals on main. Puddle Gohan heals on main. Heals with endurance. He will get back half the HP because Bardock's removing 50% of the HP restored that he gets back. Sword Hope Trunks heals, I believe, with Gauge or something, or if not with main, and again, has endurance. He'll only get 50% back. Full Power Frieza heals on main. All these units are healing. Every unit that's an LF usually heals on their main. Look at this entire list. Most LFs here heal somewhere. Bardock says no to half of that. If you run a setup where you have another unit that can fuck over health restore, you're legitimately eating. I've never seen more 1 HP Future Gohans than when I did that video of Frieza, Yajirobe, and Bardock, because Yajirobe fucked it over by, 80% for 90 timer counts or something like that. And then you have Bardock doing it. They can't heal. They can't get back their HP. And the whole thing that really fucks you over. By the way, Ultra Gogeta heals every new combo because his gauge heals him. You can't do that, at least fully, with Bardock. You have this situation where Bardock can just screw over all these units on top of being neutral to quite literally every unit here, defensively. With the, not last man standing, but second man standing to last man standing ability. Now that, I do feel like is an issue for him, yes. The thing is, it's not something you should rely on. I found in my usage of him that Bardock, I see his value just from, staying in for a decent amount of counts. And Bardock, how you want to use him, at least how I've been using him and winning a lot of matches with him, is you stay in with him, you lead with him, you stay in with him, you let him face take a combo, right? Because at 5 stars, he was taking combos for me perfectly fine without Zenkai buffs, without anything. Not even with, equips meant for defense, just normal ass offense equips, because he's a blast-based unit, I'm building him for blast. Doing that perfectly, he's face taking combos easily. Then he can heal on his green card, he can heal on his main ability, he has a lot of ways to get his health back. And then, boom, you face take that combo, then you most likely will combo them back, because you probably got their vanish out, but then they caught you, oh no, woe is me. Okay, that combo ends, they're locked in, they're not going to kind of realize that. Okay, well maybe, you do a combo back, who cares about the damage in that combo? Then, you swap out after that combo ends. By the time you swap out, you probably already have at least 15 to 20 timer counts already done. He needs 28 timer counts to be done. So by the second time he comes in, he should be at already 140%. And if you have a key battery with them, you're going to get that 160% fully done by second time you come in. If you just play him in a correct manner, he can look like a menace. He can look like everything he really wants to be. Again, that endurance, you don't rely on it. That's not the point of it. I feel like the reason for the endurance is to just have it. Have that safety that if you need it, okay, there it is. But I'm never relying on okay, well now I have endurance. I have to get my Bardock to have endurance and, B-type neutral defensively. I have to have that. You don't. You truly don't have to have that for Bardock. And I do feel like people are seemingly thinking you do, which is just the wrong way of playing him. Personally, I really haven't. Like, I just haven't thought of it where it's a reliance. It's more just, if I need it, it's there, but, like, I don't need to have it for him to be a good unit, right? The way to build up Bardock is very simple. I just explained it, and, you know, if you guys try it that way, you'll see his value if you do have him. If you don't see his value, let me know. Again, I do think he's a much more complex unit than a simple brain dead of Goku Vegeta, Ultra Gogeta, maybe even Super Vegeta at this point. Like, he's very much more complex where you have to use him. I do feel like that a little bit devalues him for a lot of people, but again, once you learn to use him, watch the videos I've been doing. There has not been a bad spot for Bardock in any of them, and every single video of Bardock has been Bardock carrying the team. It's like, you know, I don't know what else to say about it. I'm personally showing him to an extent where he's looking like an S+ tier unit. I don't see any lower rating for him, right? I can't see it personally. Honestly, if I'm going to be really real, I could put him below full power Frieza and be perfectly fine with that. Like, I wouldn't even be debating with that, but I'll keep him here because I need a little bit more testing with them. It has only been just a couple of days, but from the initial usage where I thought, you know, he was clunky, wonky, all that, it's really just the playstyle. You have to adjust to him, and that's really how you fix it. But this, let's go over it real quick before I wrap it up. This is my LF tier list, though. Let's see if we change anything. Goku Vegeta, no, I think they're number 1. Gogeta 4, yes. Super Vegeta, yes. Future Gohan, yes. Z tier, I think, is all correct. And no, I do not think Goku Vegeta are Z+ tier anymore. I think they are Z tier. I used to think they were Z+ because, well, they were above the rest. Well, now they've come down to earth a little bit, right? Not really because of anything from them, but these units just have got amplified to hell. Sword Hope Trunks, top of S+, yes. Full Power Frieza, S+, yes. Bardock, S+, yes. Again, I could easily say Full Power Frieza and Bardock swap and not really debate that, but I'll keep them there for now. Evolution Blue, yes. Survival Gohan and Piccolo, yeah. Cell, I definitely respect him a little bit more. Goten, yes. Underrated. Kid Buu, Namek Goku, Frieza, yeah. Gogeta Blue and Vegeta Blue, really interchangeable, so it doesn't really matter. Super Saiyan for Goku, yes. Rose, okay. He could be lower, but it's okay. I would swap him with Broly, but again, they're interchangeable, doesn't really matter. Cross for Zamasu, yes. Super Saiyan for Goku, yes. Ape Vegeta, yes. FSK, yes. Majin Vegeta, yes. Beerus, yes. UI Goku, yes. And Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, yeah. I'm quite a fan of this list, actually. I think it's pretty accurate for at least everything I'd consider in PvP. But let me know what you guys think of my LF tier list of January, and I'll see you guys in the next one.